Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb. This shocking sentence changed aviation history forever. But who was the man behind it? And how did we get to this moment on the evening of November 24th, 1971, a day before Thanksgiving? Portland International Airport was busy with holiday travelers. Among the crowd, one man stood out only because of his simplicity. He wore a dark business suit, a white shirt, a thin black tie, and sunglasses. He carried nothing but a black attaché case. He walked to the counter of Northwest Orient Airlines and purchased a one-way ticket to Seattle for just $20. On the ticket, he gave the name Dan Cooper. To everyone around him, he looked like an ordinary businessman. Nobody knew he was about to vanish into history as the man the world would forever call D.B. Cooper. Flight 305 was a short trip, about 30 minutes from Portland to Seattle. On board were 36 passengers, a few crew members, and the mysterious man in seat 18C. He ordered a bourbon and soda, lit a cigarette, as smoking was still common in the 1970s, and sat calmly. Flight attendants later said he was polite, even gentlemanly, but soon he made his move. Cooper handed a folded note to stewardess Florence Schaffner. She assumed it was just another man trying to give her his phone number, so she slipped it into her pocket without reading. Leaning closer, Cooper whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his attaché case, Cooper briefly showed her what looked like dynamite sticks, wrapped in wires. Calmly, he dictated his demands. $200,000 in cash, in $20 bills, 4 parachutes, 2 main chutes, and 2 reserve. A fuel truck ready in Seattle to refuel the plane. If his demands were met, he promised, everyone would be released unharmed. The captain relayed the message to air traffic control. The FBI and Northwest Orient officials scrambled to comply. After all, hijackings were not rare in the 1970s, but none had ever unfolded quite like this. For the next 2 hours, the plane circled Puget Sound while authorities gathered the ransom and parachutes. Cooper remained calm, sipping bourbon, smoking cigarettes, and making small talk. He even offered to pay for the crew's drinks later. At 5:45 p.m., the plane landed in Seattle. True to the deal, Cooper allowed all 36 passengers to leave. FBI agents delivered $200,000 in marked bills, along with the parachutes. The exchange was quiet, efficient, and strangely polite. Now, only Cooper and the flight crew remained on board. He gave his next instructions. The plane would take off again, heading toward Mexico City. Cooper was specific about the flight conditions. The Boeing 727 was to fly below 10,000 feet at a slow speed of 170 knots, with the landing gear down. He also insisted the cabin remain unpressurized. These were unusual instructions, but the crew complied. At 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off again into the stormy night. Cooper sat in the rear of the plane, preparing his escape. Somewhere over the forests of southwest Washington, he lowered the rear air stair of the aircraft, a unique feature of the Boeing 727. At 8:13 p.m., the crew felt a sudden pressure shift, as if someone had left the plane. That was the last physical sign of D.B. Cooper. When the plane landed in Reno, Nevada, Cooper was gone, along with the money and 1 parachute. The FBI immediately launched one of the largest manhunts in American history. Hundreds of agents searched the forests and rivers of Washington. Paratroopers, helicopters, and even the military joined in. But no trace of Cooper was found. No body, no parachute, no suitcase. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. Over the decades, the FBI investigated thousands of suspects. Some were promising, but none could be proven. One suspect, Richard Floyd McCoy, carried out a nearly identical hijacking 5 months later, but he was caught, and the FBI eventually ruled him out as Cooper. Others claimed Cooper was a disgruntled airline employee, an ex-military paratrooper, or even a Northwest Orient insider. Some theorized that he never survived the jump at all, that he landed in the freezing river or thick forest and died. Others believe he escaped and lived quietly under a new identity. For years, the only hard evidence was the black tie Cooper left behind on his seat. Decades later, microscopic particles on the tie revealed rare metals used in aerospace manufacturing, sparking theories that Cooper may have worked in that industry. In 1980, a breakthrough seemed possible. A boy digging in the sand along the Columbia River found rotting bundles of $20 bills, nearly $6,000 in total. The serial numbers matched the ransom money, but the find only deepened the mystery. Why was part of the money buried miles from the suspected landing zone? Did Cooper drop it there intentionally, or was it lost in the wilderness? For 45 years, the FBI kept the case open. In 2016, they officially closed the active investigation, admitting they may never solve it. Yet the public's fascination with Cooper has never faded. Books, documentaries, podcasts, and endless theories keep the legend alive. Some see him as a daring folk hero who outwitted the system. Others view him as a dangerous criminal who risked lives for money. To this day, nobody knows who D.B. Cooper really was, where he went, or if he even survived the jump. His name remains etched in history, a mystery in the sky that may never be solved.